Haggai. That was a debate in college how to pronounce this. Is it Haggai or Haggai? So my professor said you pronounce it Haggai. And then when we looked it up in the Hebrew, it says it is a 3-syllable word, not 2 syllables. So it's Haggai. Actually 3 syllables. You know syllable, right? Haggai. It's not 2. It's not Haggai or Haggai. It's actually pronounced Haggai. Okay? For example, the word Pharaoh. Pharaoh of Egypt, right? We use 2 syllables. But if you look it up, it's actually Pharaoh. Pharaoh. Actually 3 syllables. But no big deal, so what? Those 3 syllables or 2, whatever. Alright, so Haggai was a prophet after the exile. So the children of Israel, they disobeyed God. They became idolaters. They did not punish murderers. They were fornicators and adulterers. And they celebrated their sin. And the final thing was they did not observe the Sabbatical rest of the land. Can anybody tell me what that is? The Sabbath rest of the land. Okay? That's every 7 years they were supposed to have the land rest for 1 year. So they can have farmland for 6, rest for 1. Then 6 more years for farming, rest for 1. Okay, that's the Sabbath rest of the land. Today we know why, scientifically, because the soil will be depleted, and without fertilizer, the soil will not be able to give you better fruit or crops. So you will need to rest it 1 year. They don't have the fertilizer back then, like we do today. Well, the children of Israel did not do that, so God says, if you're not going to let the land rest, I will make the land to rest. And they had 70 years of rest years that they had skipped. In other words, there were 70 years the land did not rest. When God said it needs to rest. So God removed them from the land. He let the land rest for 70 years. After the exile, He brought them back in. Okay? And now, when they came back into the land, you know about Nehemiah, he built the wall. Who built the temple? You know, later Herod expanded it. We call it Zerubbabel's temple, or the second temple. Who was the one that really got things going? It would be this guy right here, Haggai. Okay? He was the prophet. So they actually began the construction of the temple, and then because of the Samaritans and some of the tricks that they have been doing to the Israelites, they got discouraged, and they discontinued the construction of the temple. They stopped the work. They quit. They gave up. Now, fast forward 16 years later. There's a new law in Persia that Darius had said, if you guys want to build a temple, you can do it. It's okay. But the Jews, the children of Israel, they said, now is not the time. Now is not the time. That is a common excuse that we give. Now is not the time. And maybe that's a good excuse. Maybe it's a bad excuse. So why don't we read Haggai chapter 1. It says, in the 2nd year of Darius, the king, in the 6th month, and the 1st day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, saying, so who is the one that received the message? It says the word, so it says, word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet. And who was he to give this message to? 2 guys. What were their names? Zerubbabel and Josedek. Okay? Joshua. Sorry. Joshua and Zerubbabel. Okay? Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say, the time is not come. The time that the Lord's house should be built. So that's what the people said to the Lord. So in other words, someone had already delivered the message. Haggai was about to give this message, and it was not the first time. In other words, they knew what the message was. They knew the message was, build the temple. Build the temple. It was nagging on them. You could say it was like a knock on the door to their heart. You need to build the temple. You need to build the temple. They knew the message. And then God says to Haggai, tell them, I know that they say the time is not now. God says, I've heard their excuses. I know their opinion on the matter. Okay? Now I'm going to give you some opinions. Okay? We call that applications. Those are my opinions. They're just application. We talked about this before. Interpretation, that's not my opinion. There's only one interpretation, and that's what it says in the Bible. And then I'm going to give you some applications. Those are some of my opinions. Alright? And I hope, as we've done before, remember we sat in a circle and we practiced drawing out applications from the Bible. Remember that? Okay? And I hope you can also draw some of your own opinions, your own applications. Okay? But we will agree on one thing, and that is the interpretation. And that is the interpretation we know is this. That the children of Israel received a message to work. They had to do some work. And they had to sacrifice their time, their money, their energy. Some of them, it's dangerous. Some of them, even though they were sick, they had to make a sacrifice. And they did not want to do it. And the reason they gave for that, for their objection, for not doing it, they did not say, I don't want to sacrifice. It's not worth the effort. I'm too lazy, I'm too broke, I'm too selfish, I'm too kuriput, I'm too madamot. I'm not going to do it for those reasons. Do you see here where the children of Israel said, we don't need to build a temple because I am too selfish? Is that what they said? Not what they said. Why did they say we should not build the temple? What was their reason? It says it's not the right time. It's just not the right time. Do you think it was the right time? It was. It was definitely the right time. So is that really the reason they did not build the temple? So are you saying that they are lying? Yes, they are lying. It was the time. God had told them before, now is the time. And God is telling them, again, this time recorded, the time is now to build the temple. But they said, it's not. And the excuse they gave was a lie. What was the real reason? What do you think? It doesn't tell us. Later it's going to kind of pin it down the reason why. What do you think? If you were there standing on a mountain and you saw everything going on, what would you say this is the reason why? What? It's too hard. What else? Too hot. How about Filipinos? It's too rainy. If this was in the Philippines, the temple is still being built because of the rain. I can't build a temple, it might rain. What do you think? What else? Honest reasons, the real reason. We know, not because the time is just now. Well, that's not why. Why do you think? Tired, too hot? They're lazy. They're lazy. Ask a pastor friend of mine. He's a Filipino pastor, very successful in Negros. Pastor, great time. I said, what's the number one problem with your mission pastors? I said, what's the reason they're just not getting it done? And you find that's common. The common thing is they have bad doctrine, they have bad morals, they have bad separation standards. What is it? He said it's their laziness. And then we went to go visit one of his mission pastors. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. It was late. Guess what? His wife had to wake him up and get him out of bed. He came walking out of his house in his underwear. And then there's Pastor Rebaton, and I looked at this guy going, come on, man. Laziness, that's a real issue, it's a real problem. What else? They just have other things to do. They want to do it, it's just a lower priority. Often, and this is kind of their excuse, the most common excuse not to do something in my world experience, 36 years alive on this earth, I don't have time. Probably get that more than any other. Why don't you go to church? I don't have time. Why don't you read your Bible? Why don't you go soul winning? I don't have time. Probably is the number one excuse. Well, I'm going to give you all a news flash, a truth bomb. We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have the same amount of time. Francis, you and I have the same amount of time. Simon Ray, 24 hours. Francis, 24 hours. Ezra, how many hours? She said she doesn't have 24. Okay, I'm wrong. I was wrong. We all have 24 hours in a day. So we do have time, it's just we don't prioritize what we do with our time. So don't ever say, I don't have time, because that's not true. That's kind of like what the Israelites were saying. And remember, God says, you are lying. He says to Haggai, tell them they're lying. Okay? Not because now is not the right time. So when you say, I don't have time, that's a lie. You have 24 hours in a day. The honest answer would be, I don't have that much of a priority. There are other things that will take up my time, and those other things are a higher priority. If I said, hey, can one of you guys come to my house and babysit my kids? Okay? Let's say I asked that of Joel. I said, Joel, can you come to my house and babysit my kids? Because I want to take a nap. Joel would say, well, I kind of have a job. I got to provide for my wife. I got to provide for my child. Probably have other children running around down there that I don't even know about. I got to provide for all these people. I don't have time to go over I have time, but my priority is not to babysit your little brats so you can get a nap. Okay? And Joel would say, I have a higher priority than to do that. Okay? And by the way, he would be right. Can anyone tell me, when you misprioritize, what is the word for that? When you make something that is of a lower priority above something that should be a higher priority. And it has to do with money. We prioritize priority is money above something that's more important than money. Reverse it. You know what that's called? It's called greed. Greed is when you make money a priority of your time. Your time. You prioritize making money above something that is more important. That's greed. So you know some of those people that push those carts and they shut down Carino Highway because they're pushing the Bacala cart in front of the bus and everything gets shut down, those guys? You know what they're doing? On Sunday mornings when they should be in church? They're not in church. Why? They're trying to make 30 pesos a day so they can eat. You know what the Bible calls that? It says that those people are greedy. They care more about money, just to eat, than things that are spiritual, like going to church. So can little people who push the Bacala cart and sell taco, when they're doing it, instead of doing what God wants, that's greed. Right. Alright, so we can find greed here also. They just did not prioritize the building of the temple. What else? Lazy, hot, greed. Forgot what else you mentioned. They're tired. These are the honest reasons. It's not the reason they gave, but they are the honest reasons. Now I'm going to ask you a question. It was fun, wasn't it? Sitting there in the mountain, looking down at those sinful children of Israel, pointing out so easily, so well. We did a good job finding all the reasons why they were not building the temple of God. Why are you not busy about God? I'm not talking about building a temple. I'm talking about the spiritual work of the kingdom of God. Kingdom of heaven. Why are you not more busy? Wednesday night, we had, when church started, except for the people that live here, okay, and RJ, who lives close to here, lives here half the time. When we started, there was only one person. One. It's not a lot. Besides Joel and Chini, because, you know, they have to be here. If you live here, you have to be here, right? RJ halfway has to be here. He half lives here, right? Other than those people who have to be here, or because they live here, they stay here. I counted one person on Wednesday night. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that's a sin. I'm not even saying what you did was wrong. I'm asking you, as God is going to ask the children of Israel, consider your ways. Consider your ways. Here's how I want you to consider your ways. Alright? What was my priority that night? Now you might say, well, it was raining, I couldn't get a Jeep. Well, you can't fly here with a jetpack, so that would be okay, you couldn't get here. Hopefully, you spent time with the Lord at home instead. Okay? You said, well, I couldn't get here because I had to work late, and I would lose my job. And the Bible does not say you have to be here on a Wednesday night. Okay, that's also I understand. And hopefully you set aside a time and a place where you could have time with God instead. This is how we consider our ways. And then I believe that many of you had a good reason. And the priority was above being here for the service. Is it important to be here for Wednesday night service? Yes. High priority. Are there times where there's a higher priority? Yes, there are. Okay, so I'm not saying everyone here sinned, except for the one person that was. I'm not saying that. I'm saying consider your priorities. What is it that kept you away? If you were kept away, which maybe is 100% fine, did you put some time in prayer for God? Wednesday night prayer? Did you set aside some time? I would encourage you, that not rebuking you, I would encourage you, take some time. If you can't be here on a Wednesday night, again, priorities, like we talked about. If you can't make it, you have a higher priority than to make it here, Wednesday night prayer meeting, which is often the case. Set aside some time to pray. We don't have to be here together to pray. You can set aside time on a Wednesday night to pray yourself. Okay? So we see that the work of the Lord did not continue. And Haggai came down, and they had some excuse about it not being time. And Haggai said, that's exactly how we work. Just like that. Verse 3, then the word of the Lord came by Haggai the prophet, saying, is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lying in waste? Sealed means paneling. It's your outward structural facade of a house. Okay, it's like the finishing touches on your house. In other words, you could say the house had the cement, and it was also painted. The cracks were filled, and it looked fine. And it was weatherproof, and it was completely done. Sealed. Not S-E-A-L-E-D, but C-I-E-L-E. Okay? It means the outer paneling and everything was completely finished. They're finished houses. God says, is it time for you to live in your comfortable, finished, completely done house? And the house of the Lord lies waste. Because they said it's not time. So God asked them a question. Okay, is it time for you to have your own house and live in it? Completely finished? Well, that's kind of a hard question to answer. That's like saying, well, Lord, it's not time for you to have your house. Now's not the time for that. But it is time for us to have a house for ourselves. God's saying, really? So what God is saying is, your house is more important than mine. That should be a convicting question to us as well. What are we doing with our lives? We're building up our houses, physical, saving up money to buy a house, trying to work hard to pay the rent. Nothing wrong with that. But I'll tell you what, there is something wrong is when God's house lies empty and wasted and desolate, and the work of God, what we should be doing, is not getting done. And who is doing the work? Guess what? If you don't do the work, guess who does? You know who does the work for you? Who do you think does the work for you when you don't? Do you think I do it? Do you think Pastor does it? Do you think Joel does it? Let's look around the room at each other. If you don't do your job, if you don't witness to your coworkers, who's going to do it? Okay? Who's going to do it? Nobody. Alright? If you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. It doesn't get done. You You can't say, well, we're a body, we have, well, guess what? Paul's saying, hey, look, you know what happens when the eye refuses to work with the hand, and the eye says, I'm not going to see. Guess what happens? The body doesn't work. The body doesn't function. The hand has to feel around because the eye refuses to work. The hand doesn't become sight for the eye. You lose your sight. If you are not going to do your work, and not talking about just in the Christian life, but also in the church, here, it's not going to get done. You can't say someone else will do it, because if someone else won't do it, someone else has their own things that they need to do. Who's going to do the evangelism? I'm not going to do it. But you're an evangelist. I can't do your evangelism. And as an evangelist, my job really is to evangelize beyond the reach of a local assembly. So when I do a VBS, I'm not really doing the work of an evangelist. I'm just part of one of the members of the body. That's separate from my office. In other words, it's like a favor. I'm doing something. I'm leaving my work as an evangelist to do the work of the body as a member. Okay? We saw Paul would do that too sometimes. So if you don't do your work, it's not going to get done. If you don't help with cleaning the church, it won't get cleaned. If you won't help with supporting missions, missions won't be supported.
Right.
And a lot of the Jews would say, okay, I'll give money. That's not really, we're not trying, are we in a building program? Are we building a program? We're not in a building program, as far as I know. Are we saving towards a lot? No, we're not. Are we trying to build up a temple? Are we trying to build something physical? Right now we're fine. We've got 2 air conditionings, probably both running for once, right? Looks like the lights are on. There's no water coming through the ceiling like there was Wednesday night. We're okay. Are you comfortable? You okay? Do you want me to adjust, turn on the set? Just tell Simon, Ray, and Francis, they'll turn on these fans, they'll turn them off. You want the AC colder? You want it warmer? Just let us know. Whatever it is that we can do to make you more comfortable, just let us know. We have Simon and Vincent, RJ, we're ready. Ed will stand up and he'll do what he can. He'll fan you with a golden leaf if you want. If that is what is stopping you from doing what you need to be doing. If you're saying, I can't focus on witnessing, I can't focus on handing out tracts, I can't focus on sacrifice, I can't be more diligent, because it's just not comfortable. I need to consider and I need to examine the physical conditions of the church. Talk to me, let's work through that. I don't want our focus to be on a building. I don't want us to focus on the degree, the temperature that makes us comfortable. I don't want us to focus on seat covers. I don't want us to focus on maybe having some nice pews with pads and cushions. In other words, the Jews, they could not even get the physical temple built. That's how blind and off their focus was. And that's easy. It's easy to focus on something that you can see, that you can feel, that you can touch.
Right.
But it's hard to focus on the needs of what we really need to build as a church. We don't need colder air conditioning. We don't need a more powerful fan to fan you. We don't need more comfortable seats. We don't need better looking floor tiles. This mural here, does it look okay? Looks okay? You can come and you can gather together in church and worship. Even with this mural, it's alright, right? Then let's look beyond what we can physically do. And let's look at what we need to do spiritually to be busy about how we can grow the glory of God. You thought I was going to say grow your church. Forget about it. Let's grow the glory of God. Our prayer is not numerical growth. We can pray for it, it's fine. It's no big deal if it happens, no big deal if it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Right.
If we dwindle down to 2 people, that's fine.
Right.
All that matters is that God gets glory by what you do.
Amen.
And if God gets glory in His church, then we need to be busy about what we can do for God's church.
Amen.
And it's not about, well, let me find something to paint. Let me fix a doorknob somewhere. A door keeps opening. Not about fixing a doorknob. It's not about just physical. You can say, well, the church is too far away for me to go and paint a wall someplace or sweep a mop or whatever. Then be busy about the spiritual work of the church. And I'm telling you, that's more important. Do we need church workers? Yes. To clean, to set up the chairs, to clean out the spider webs, and to chase off the rats. Yeah, we need them. But that should not be our focus. That's secondary. I would rather we have 300 kids in here at VBS, and these air conditionings get knocked over and broken to pieces. And some kid gets over here and picks his nose and wipes it all over this mural. This TV falls and breaks and shatters, and we come in here Sunday morning and this place is trashed. And see one kid saved. It's worth it. I care more about the spiritual victory and the glory for God than anything that we can offer to God physically. So if you think you can get the easy way out and say, all right, fine, I'll increase my giving a little bit more. This message is not for you. It's not about increasing your giving. Now we're going to, if we have time, which we won't probably, but God gets after the children of Israel here because He says, you're not giving like you're supposed to. Okay? And if you're not giving, you need to be giving. But don't take that easy way out. I'm not asking you to give more money. If you're not giving your time while you're sinning, that's between you. Okay? And if you're giving more than your time because you want to receive a blessing, okay, God doesn't bless a cheerful giver. God loves a cheerful giver. Okay? So if you're giving so you can get blessed, then you're missing the point. Don't give if you think that God's going to make you rich. Okay? I'm not Benny Hinn. I don't wear a white suit. Right? You know what Benny Hinn is? I'm not one of those TV preachers that say, you give money to me, and God is going to make you rich. Okay, if that's why you're giving, forget it. Just keep your money and go spend it on something else. If you give to get, then you're missing the point. We give to God because we want to show God the love. That's why. In the Old Testament, you know why they gave their tithes? God said you better do it. You know why they built this temple? You know what God says? He says, I'm going to hurt your wallet if you don't do it. And then comes Jesus. He says, I'm not going to tell you you have to give. I'm not going to make the reason to give to me or out of punishment. I'm going to tell you this. Give to me because you love me. Not because you're following along. So if you're giving your time, what's 10.0000? Okay, fine, 0001%. I'll round up to the nearest centavo. They don't make anything lower than centavo. I guess I can round up 2 centavos. Alright? If you're just giving so you can keep that 10%, you know that you're giving like a Pharisee. You're giving to keep the law. You're not giving out of money. If you're saying 10%, of course, I'll give 11%. I'll give 15%. I'll give 20%. I'll give 100%. Why? Because I give according to how much I love. Not how much I want to be blessed. Not how much I want because it follows the rules. I give because I love. And these children of Israel, they were not giving because they did not love. And I'm not talking about your money. I'm talking about what your service is for God. If each of you could spend the month of June, 30 days, as September, April, June, and November, each of you could take 30 days of June, and you could set it aside. You could set aside 30 days of June, and say, God, I want to do something different for 30 days. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to be a valuable service for you for 30 days. Each day. At least one time a day, 30 days. I'm going to set aside 1 month. And if God, you bless me, I don't care to make me rich beyond my wildest dreams. I don't care. I'm doing this only, God, because I love you. It's not a sin if you don't. You're not doing it so you don't sin. You're doing it simply by saying, God, I want to do more than just not sin. I want to do more because I want to show them I love you. If you can take something for 1 month, for 30 days, and just say, Lord, for 30 days, I'm going to give out tracts. I'm going to give out 100 tracts a day, and I'm going to do it every day, and I'm going to do it for 30 days. I'm going to stand at the intersection, and I'm going to give out tracts. If you're too shy, I'll come and do it, and I'll teach you how not to be shy. If you say, God, I don't normally pray, every day, except for maybe the blessed meal. But for 30 days, God, what I'm talking about is service for God. What I'm talking about is doing the work to finish the temple, to finish the building. I hope you know I'm not talking about physics. Okay? I want you to think of something and say, I want to do something for God with my time, that I might glorify Him in His service. So what were the children of Israel doing? They're living in their sealed houses, their nice, finished, done houses, and God says, so your house is more important than mine? What's the answer? No, it's not. God asks the same. So your time, your ambitions, your hopes, your plans, your dreams, what your priorities are, they're more important than mine. Verse 5, now therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Haggai had a message to give to Joshua's rebel, to tell the children of Israel these 3 words: consider your ways. Now you can take this in a broad, general sense of the word. What are my ways? What are my just general things I do in life? For example, my ways as I'm a believer and I live in Manila and I plan one day to retire in the province. Sure, you can consider your ways like that. Make sure it's what God wants. But I think more effective would be literally consider your ways. A way is your daman, your path. Consider, where do I walk to? Literally. Where am I walking in my house? What am I doing minute by minute in my day? How many minutes in my day are spent with electronics? How many minutes of my day is spent for entertainment? Am I saying entertainment is a sin? No. Am I saying 99% of the time it's a sin? Yes. Because you're missing out on God's priority. There's a time for it. And there's also time for something that's you need to be building the work of God and not being entertained. How much time are you spending on entertainment? How much time are you spending on sleep? Do you need to sleep? Yes, you need to sleep. How much sleep do you need? Don't sleep more than you need. Not too much more. And there's different people at different ages, how much sleep they need. I'm just saying, don't worship sleep. Don't worship entertainment. Don't worship money. How much money do you need to live on? Anything more than that? Is it bad? No. But if there's a higher priority, something for the service of the King, you better put that extra money that you can make, you better put it aside. So consider your ways. Consider what you spend your time on. Consider some of your weaknesses. And what I mean by that is, a weakness is something that withholds you back from something that upon consideration, something that you need to do for God. Let me just give an example. Alright? Let's say that one of you needs to witness to your coworker, but you don't do it. The reason you don't do it, that's your weakness. That's what you need to consider. And I'm going to tell you the number one reason that we all have is our pride. And what will they think of you? That's pride. Okay? And sadly, it's even celebrated, both American culture and in Philippine culture too. Look at my kid's 1-year-old birthday party. Hey, your kid won't remember. You're just celebrating yourself. Maybe the kids too, he might remember. Okay, so just don't forget that. Keep that in the back of your head. Consider your ways. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Consider your spending. Let's try to get through this quickly. Verse 6, ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but you're not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it in a bag with holes. You ever feel that way? Where did all the money go? Yeah. You put it in a bag with holes. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. God's saying, I just want you to think about it. Okay? And if you love God, and you think about it, what is it going to cause you to do? What is your doctrine? I know some people say that doctrine is your teaching. That's what's being taught. Doctrine does not mean teaching. Doctrine is what causes you to action. That's your doctrine. What causes you to action? What stirs your heart is your doctrine. Consider your ways. Now let's talk about someone who did consider his ways. Let's see, let's just go quickly till we get to that verse. Verse 8, go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house, and I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith the Lord. He looked for much, and lo, it came to little. And when he brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why, saith the Lord of hosts? Because of mine house that is waste, and ye run every man unto his own house. So here God's saying, you guys work so hard, you bring it home, and guess what I do to your money when you have it out? I go like this. Oh, I thought it was going to be more dramatic than that. God's going to blow it out, and it's going to be gone. Hey, where's all that money that was sitting on the table? Oh, God blew it with the wind. Where's the money I put in the bag? God put a hole in it. Where's all the vacation Bible stuff? The BBS toys, the puppets. They got stolen. God stole it. Therefore, verse 10, the heaven over you is stayed from the dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. And they called for a drought upon the land, and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hands. Now look at verse 12. Let's finish with this. Verse 12. Then Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, the son of Joseph, the high priest, and all the remnant of the people obeyed the voice of the Lord their God, and the words of Haggai the prophet, as the Lord their God had sent him, and the people did fear before the Lord. Verse 13, then spake Haggai, the Lord's messenger, and the Lord's message unto the people, saying, I am with you, saith the Lord. Now look at verse 14, and the Lord stirred up the spirit of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and the spirit of Joshua, the son of Joseph, the high priest, and the spirit of all the remnant of the people. And they came and did work in the house of the Lord of hosts, their God. What happened? First, God said build a temple. And first, what did they say? Later. Now's not the time. God says, is it time for you to live in your house? Is your house more important than mine? How are they going to answer that question? How did they answer? What happened when God answered? When God asks them that question, what happened to their spirit? It got stirred up. You ever get stirred up? Tabitha gets stirred up. My little daughter gets stirred up all the time. This morning I came down and she had a death stare a lot at Vincent. I don't know what he did, I don't know what he said, but she was ready to kill him. Her spirit was stirred up. Okay, as fathers sometimes, and mothers too, you see your children are hurting and some bully is picking on your child. Guess what happens to your spirit? It's stirred up. Guess what we need to have? We need to have our spirit stirred up. That feeling that you get, what makes you angry? Okay, it's a hot climate. The sun is always beating on you here in the Philippines. It's real hot. You get stirred up real fast. I see it all the time. What is it that stirs you up? What is it that really gets the blood flowing? Really turns your blood red? What is it? Well, for Zerubbabel and Joshua and the people here of Israel at this time, it was when Haggai came and said, "You guys think it's time to have a house sealed out, finished house, and you think now is the time for God's house to be left empty?" Got it? I wouldn't say that, but I would say God stirred up. they got their spirit stirred up. They said, that's it. You know, Haggai is a very unique prophet. And you go, oh, you won't think of it, so I'll tell you. The one thing that makes Haggai a very unique prophet, and also say Jonah shared this as well, pretty much those two only, is that when they spoke, the people listened. When Jonah spoke to Nineveh, they listened. He died a great man in Nineveh. And guess what? When Haggai spoke, people listened. And you know what they did? When they got stirred up, guess what they did? They built a temple. They finished the work. They glorified God. They did not make excuses. They strengthened themselves. And they banded together. They gathered together and said, we will finish the work. We will glorify God. We will set aside time each day. We will sacrifice. We will not be lazy. We will give up our time. We will not be proud. We will speak to those that we need to. And we will do what God has called us to do. And they got it done. God stirred up their spirit. And what is it that stirred them up? God said, I want you to consider your ways. My prayer for you this morning is that you might consider your ways. I think if I were to ask you to raise your hand and say, who here is stirred up right now? You just want to see souls saved and you don't care to eat or sleep or anything. You just want to see souls saved and see God glorified and the gospel proclaimed. I don't think any of us could raise our hand and say, I am stirred up and I am on fire. I can't wait to get out of church today so I can get down there and just start shouting and screaming and preaching at Mercury Drug. I don't think that we're stirred up like we need to be. I think we get stirred up when the air conditioning goes on. I think we get stirred up if children distract the church or they break something. During VBS, you think these flowers have a chance of surviving VBS? No chance. They will be lucky to escape with this roof still above us after VBS. I hope that if you find a kid broke a light, stole some stuff, it's going to happen too. Don't get stirred up about it. Get stirred up because kids didn't come to VBS. Get stirred up because more didn't come. More lights weren't broken. More air conditionings weren't shoved down. I hope it's not that. I hope you get my point. What's going to stir you up? I'm going to tell you something that might be a little confusing at first. But we get stirred up about sin. And that's not good. I know that's confusing. But what will stir us up is when we see sin in lost people. Now, if you see sin in a saved person, that should stir you up. Right thing. You see sin in your life, that better stir you up, or in your children, or your family. But what stirs us up as Christians is when we see a politician lie. We get stirred up while they're lost. We see a politician get caught stealing, corruption, graft, cheating. And what happens? We get stirred up. And the Baptist preachers get their pulpits and they hit the pulpits and that guy's a thief, and that guy's cheating, and that guy's filled with corruption. Well, they're lost. Stop getting stirred up about sin in unbelievers. You don't need to convince saved people that sin is wrong. And you don't need to convince a lost person that their sin is wrong. You need to convince a lost person that their sin is separating them from God. So don't get stirred up about the wrong things. Even if it's, well, sin is wrong and I need to be stirred up, well, if it's from an unbeliever, expect it. I'm not saying you should celebrate it or congratulate it. But I say if you're stirred up by a lost person sinning, you should be stirred up because they're lost, not because they're doing what's natural to them. Do you get stirred up when a dog does not wait in line and he cuts to the front of the line in front of the other dogs? You don't get stirred up. You understand that's their nature. They're animals. They're dogs. Peter said lost people are brute beasts. They go according to their instinct. What's natural to them is their nature. That's what they obey. That's what they listen. That's what they follow. They are, as all, slaves to sin. So there's things that we should be righteously stirred up about. And those things are something that should stir you up in your own life to act. I'm so stirred up by so-and-so running for senator. Well, how is that going to? What are you going to do? How is that going to cause you to act? I'm going to rally against him. Save your breath. Save your time. Rally for the gospel. If you're going to get stirred up, get yourself stirred up, stir up your spirit that you might do something for God.